The next step, and it's really the final step in building this rod, is applying the epoxy. And what I'm going to do is I will be using Threadmaster, the light build. I do have the heavy build, or what do they call it, the high build, but the high build sets up too quick for me. And I've got 10 guides that I need to do. So I'm going to use the light build because it gives me more time to work with it. And in each of my bottles, I've put in the inserts so that I can get my syringes. So I'm going to do 2 milliliters in each part. That's going to be more than enough to do 10 guides. And I just use the plastic cups. Sometimes I've actually used the NyQuil cups. Trouble with the NyQuil cups is um, the NyQuil cups have little ridges in them. And when you stir it with a mixing stick, you get it bumps off of the little ridges, and then causes more bubbles. But a little bit of heat takes care of the bubbles, so that's not really a big issue, but it is an issue. So if you've got a real sick family, you don't have to order these little plastic cups. Just do NyQuil. Where's my mixing stick? Here's the mixing stick. So now you'll mix this up for, I don't know, 2 minutes. And I make sure I get all the sides, everything on the bottom. I'll hit it with a heat gun every once in a while just to relax those bubbles. Just want to make sure it's all mixed up. Not very exciting, but you want to make sure you get equal parts of each type. The part A, the resin and the hardener. So now I've got that mixed up a little bit. Gonna hit it with a heat gun. It gets rid of a lot of the bubbles, brings it up to temperature. And what I'll end up doing is I'll put at least 3 coats on each guide. I think that should be mixed up pretty good. Hit it with the heat gun again. And I've already got my brush ready. And now we'll just I apply it by hand. A lot of people actually have the machine and it's running and turning. I used to do that, but I feel I have more control over my brush doing it this way. Especially on the edges. Everybody has their own way of doing things. Many people pour from the mixing cup onto tin foil, or even they have little metal aluminum cups that they can you can buy. You can always buy it. You can buy anything you want. I find this method for me seems to work. And if you've watched my videos, I do have an underlay underneath each of my guides. So I'm putting a coat on the underlay also. So that's how I'll do the epoxy, and then each guide I'll come back and just hit it with the heat gun real quick, just to get rid of any bubbles. And because I'll be doing each guide, the rod will be spinning, and as soon as I'm done, I'll put it in the drying machine. Now that I've got all 10 guides epoxied, I'm going to insert it into the dryer. And we will turn the dryer on so it's rotating. And then I'm going to come back and use the heat gun. Try and get rid of any bubbles. For that first coat. So now that I've done heat to get rid of the bubbles, if there are any, and for the first coat, technically in about 4 hours I could do another coat, but I'll spin it for about 4 to 6 hours. And if I remember, then I'll turn the machine off. But I'll come back tomorrow and do the second coat, another day, do the third coat. And then my rod should be finished for doing guides, handles, and tips and that type of thing. So this is how the guide turned out after just 2 coats of epoxy. It seems to have worked out pretty good. And here's one of the smaller guides. Again, just 2 coats of epoxy seem to work good with this particular rod.